Oh, aha, ha, ooh, he, ha. And I thought my jokes were bad. How about a magic trick? I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. Ta-da! It's gone. And here we go.
All right, everybody, let's watch BBI do one more process that'll most likely cause him have a third eyeball grow out of his buttholes. Thank God my baby making years are long behind me. Okay, I saved you all the mind-numbing, dull portion of this entire thing, right? Which was last night prepping these boards up for to get the clear off of them. When you get these from Fat Boy or ICA Manufacturing, they do the common courtesy, which I love and thank them for it. And they spray a little tiny bit of clear on the boards. Today, I have to be very careful not to put my greasy meat palm beaters on these completely stripped pieces of copper. I stripped these with xylene and acetone to make sure that they were oil-free, make sure we had bare copper to play with, and to get rid of the clear and blah, blah, blah. So today what I've got to do is I got to dismount all these boards from the heatsink. I've got to take all of these boards and turn them into fully functional working processes for a friend of mine and a customer of mine, because I'm going to go deliver them here in just a few weeks and I want to get these out of the way. If you guys remember, I did at the end of the year, beginning of the year, a gold leafing process that was a giant ass punch to work with. The leafing, I'd go to solder down to the board and the gold leaf would go, right? Well, at the time I had ordered these lovely products and they had not come into my life yet. But I had to get that amplifier done and I had to get it off to the customer. Right. So I did a leaf on it and it was horrible to work with. Now the nickel and the gold plating solution has come in and we're going to gold plate these boards for no other purpose other than it looks cool. It's not going to help us do any more watts. I'll say that right up front. Just like painting your amplifier board and getting all techno Muji colored with the amp. That is an artistic thing that has nothing to do with performance, okay? If you choose to paint your boards and do speckled paint and all that neat stuff, that is an artistic choice. That has nothing to do whatsoever with functionality. I admire artistic choices. I admire that. I feel like I'm one of the artistic crew. I know that I'm probably on the spectrum a little bit. And I didn't say autistic, I said artistic. Okay. I admire guys that want to make themselves step out and be a little bit different than everybody else. That is the whole mojo behind this entire workbench here, is let's do things a little differently and see how well they work out. So, I've got a glove up, and I'm probably going to mask up a little bit because I don't want any sputum from my mouth hole landing on the copper. And we're going to give this a shot. First we got a nickel plate, then we're going to gold plate. And the nickel plate allows us to have a hard surface to bond the gold to. This is stupid expensive. These bottles of liquid schmoo are not cheap. So this is an expensive artistic expression. Let's see how well this works out. I'm sure I'm going to learn a whole bunch here today. So let me start here. Okay, so I did this box start on this box yesterday. So I built this in less than 20 hours or so, which is really, really fast for me, and I hate building like this, but I'm on a pretty tight timeline with these. I've just plumb run out of time. This is the same series of cabinets that I was working on with the end of year video from this last year. But they've all been repowder coated. I took all the cabinets and just had them redone because I started to look at them and it was like one lid would be thin. I had 1 amp, the whole side of it was thin. Then I started looking at another one and the bottom was thin, and then I go look at the lid and it was like the lid was right, but then around the openings of the fans it would be thin, and I just said piss on it. So I went and bought some of this prismatic powder coat and I took it to one of my local friends here in town and had him redo the powder coating on them. And I just haven't been able to slow down enough to get back to build these yet. But it's time. I'm gonna sit down and build all of these boxes out now. And it starts now. Now, the other amplifier was a gold leaf board, which created a whole bunch of problems I didn't foresee. So after doing that gold leafing, I thought, man, I'm gonna gold plate. Well, I'm here to tell you, here's a $500 bottle, and here's another $500 bottle worth of plating solution that I purchased. It's another $1,000 down the toilet. I went and bought a big plastic tub. I stripped all the boards. I got all the clear off them because when we get these from Fat Boy, they got clear on them, right? So I stripped them down to the bare copper and got everything polished like a penny. Shiny new penny, beautiful, beautiful, happy. Go and put it in the bath, and it took and turned this whole board green. Green, like a violent vomit green. Like something that would come out of a 2-year-old's butt. Green. Not even a 2-year-old butt. Like a brand new baby's butt, violent green. Okay? It was gross. So then I had to go and I cleaned all this off, and then I had to go and get a special kind of Scott Brite pad because mine, I'd wore it down to a crispy nub, right? So I went and got another pad and then sat down and polished this board up. And I called the customer and said, can we just dispense with the bullshit? And he goes, yes, you can. So thank you for making that concession. And that's the only concession I've asked you to make so far. He wanted gold plated everything. And that gold leaf, pain in the ass. We're still gonna gold leaf the logo on it. We're gonna try and do the on off, the in and out, but that's not happening today. My main mojo in this world is I've got to get all the amps completed. I'm running out of time. So the gentleman ordered a one-of-a-kind custom BBI built 16 pill in a super powder coated cabinet. Here it is. We've delivered. So I'm not going to run this tonight. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to get all the other boxes pretty much built, and then I'm going to come back and run and tune and test every single one of them. I've also got to build a power supply for this guy, but that won't take nearly as long as this. This took a lot of time, a lot of time. I went up today to go buy the bronze hardware for the back end of the amp because, well, you know me, I like bronze, I don't like brass. Brass is weak compared to bronze in my mind, and bronze actually can conduct more than brass. I spent $150 alone today getting bronze hardware for this and the power supply. This stuff is getting expensive. All of this is actually getting really expensive compared to when I started. And I'm sitting there and I'm pulling my hardware out of the bronze bins, and my truck alarm goes off. I'm like, what the fuck? And so I said, okay, maybe somebody bumped into my truck. I pay, I walk out the door, and there's this guy standing there. He says, partner, I think I might have backed into your truck. And I'm looking at it from across the parking lot, and I'm like, what? So I went to Tacoma Screw. Sure enough, this guy's backed up, and his rear rubber bumper stop on his bumper has gone and kissed my bumper. And it scuffed a little piece of the plastic, like right here, right? was like, mother frickin' trucker bumper. And I stood there and I stared at that for a hot minute. And I thought about all the stuff I've got to get done. And I said to him, I said, man, I just took my hand, I wiped the plastic. The bumper's not bent. Nothing's deformed. There was no damage to the truck, really. I just wiped the little piece of plastic, and I thought, I'll take care of that later. I said, brother, get out of here. Get on with your life. I appreciate you hanging out and doing the right thing. I said, because where we live now with our society today, most people would have just left, right? So needless to say, this has not been a pleasant day for me in the most fashions of things. You're going to be seeing me do this a lot on future builds. This actually works really, really well. This has been tested before. I got a 32 that's in process right now that I got for another friend of mine. His name's Tori. I'm telling you, when you tell an amp builder to build something in his spare time, it's going to get pushed, right? That's what Tori's box is. Oh no, I really want you to build. I'm like, Tori, I don't want to build an amp. I don't want to take your money, Tori. He paid me anyhow. And here we are like 3 years later. I got a 32 pill that's in process that I'm doing this with too. Basically all this is I don't like having all the power wire up in the RF compartment. I don't. I like to put it down below. I know this copper shielding doesn't have, or this copper clad doesn't have a lot of shielding to it, but still I like to live in this delusion where it's better than having it run directly by the output network of the amplifier. You know, this is our output rail. This is our combiner, right? 100% of the output RF is here. I don't like to take the power wire and run it by the output RF. I don't. I like to have it on this side of the box. I want to put it underneath the board, underneath the copper cladding, and it's just me. It's a me thing. God knows there's been a lot of builders that have never bothered with that ever. Hell, there was a whole 2 decades there where builders would build and they'd just take the transformers and solder them right down to the positive rail. Okay. They didn't mince around with all this BS. The chokes, the ferrite, the capacitors to throw everything out of resonance. Never messed around with any of that. They just wire, transformers, go. This thing turned out, in my opinion, really, really pretty. And this powder coat, for some reason, is shinier than, like, this has got a super high gloss to it. I don't know, I couldn't deliver that powder coating. I couldn't deliver the cabinets with that other powder coating on it. It wasn't gonna work. So, is what it is. Okay, let's move on. I'm ready to go do other things because I've been staring at this for 2 days. Meanwhile, I'm going, I gotta go. So I don't know when we come back if I'll be working on an 8-pill or if I'll be working on, because I still owe the guy an 8-pill and I owe him a couple 2x4s. So we're gonna put the tin on this. I got the fans already in the tin. I don't have the fan guards done yet. We're gonna do that downstream, but we're gonna put the lid on this. We're gonna slide this out of the way where no dust or dirt or fingers or things can fall on it, and we'll come back to this here in just a little bit. All right, gentlemen, here we go. Amplifier number 2. Straight 8-pill. Now, the last one I built for him, I did it in a mobile cabinet, or a base cabinet with its own independent power supply. Don't have the case for it. And he actually ordered a mobile. It was my fault and my mistake when I built him the base unit. It's okay, I'm gonna build him a big enough power supply to be able to run everything and leave it all hooked up. But he'll be able to run this in his car if he wants. Fully biased for sideband. It's untested at the moment. I will key it later this weekend, maybe the first part of next week. We'll get all the tuning done. But 99% of the amp is done. Key it, tune it, apply the bias to it, lock the tuning tubes down, put the lid on it, forget about it. Set it aside. I got to do some gold leaf here on the front. Got to label the switches on the front with gold leaf. And then we're going to do some gold leaf vinyl on the back. It's going to look really sick. So that's still yet to come, but this thing's like art on the inside. I never built this fast ever. And I don't ever want to keep up this pace. I had to offset the ground strap because of the placement of the final stage combiner. So it looks good. It'll work fine. Oversized relay, all the big boy parts, everything's here. Okay, now to move on to 4-pills. Yay, let's go build some 4-pills. Amplifier number 2. It's just impressive when you look at it like this. These are all 24 karat gold. I mean, I hand leafed each one of these fan guards. All the amps are built. The only thing I have left to complete now is the power supply, which will go in this cabinet. Please note, it doesn't have the BBI fan guards. These fan guards are a little bit quieter, and this power supply is gonna have to be on a lot. So I figured I'd save him the drama of having the noise. I'm gonna take him the gold plated guards. I've got them, I made them. And if he wants to change them out, that's up to him. But me personally, I think this would be a better move. And I'm literally out of gold leaf. Between the previous 8-pill that I built and leafing all of this stuff and leafing all the logos, I ran out of gold leaf. That's okay, it's cheap. I can go buy some more tomorrow, but I'm getting tired. I'm getting really tired. I've been out here for many days, like 12, 14 hours a day, non-stop. I don't like building like this. I really like to take my time, but the 2-pill cabinets, straight 4-pill mobile, 8 pills going in that cabinet. This is the lid for the 16. This is a lid for another 4-pill. He's already got his other 8-pill. And I don't know how big we're going to make the supply yet. It's got to be over 600 amps, which I'm pretty sure we'll be able to get done. So time to start building. Time to start building the power supply. Yay, fun, woo. Cool. So it's been well over a year now since I reintroduced or exposed or brought to or shared with, showed, demonstrated, however you want to put it, these HP switcher modules. So we put 7 of them in this cabinet, which is 700-ish amps, 700 amps guaranteed, probably 750 to almost 800 amps. We have it breakered back here. These are 3 30 amp breakers, so at 90 amps, he's never going to put that kind of load on the supply, right? So this initially started out as supposed to being like a 400 amp supply to run the 16-pill. And then he says, well, what about my driver? 4-pill. Okay. So 4 then turned into an additional 100 amp supply. And then I can't remember how the deal worked out, but I believe the phrase he used was just throw as many of them in there as you can conveniently fit. And I'm like, 7 or 8, right? This supply actually is the whole reason that I went out and looked at these and started freaking out, because I was initially going to build this out of 30 amp switchers. That's how long this stupid power supply has been on order for this guy and his stuff. Just put that out there. So when I came across these 100 amp modules, I went, wow, instead of having to stick 30 of them in this giant cabinet, I can just do, 4 and stick them in a 16-pill cabinet, and he'll be happy. Well, here I am with a 24-pill enclosure. And still, here I am a year and a half later, and I'm having to answer this question almost on a weekly. You see how all the LEDs are turning on here? Now watch, let it sit for a couple seconds, and most of these will actually turn off, just like that. The modules are still on, you guys. I honestly, about once a week, I'll have a phone call. And I got those HP modules that you recommend. I'm like, yeah. Well, I'm kind of having some problems with them. Well, what's the problem you're having? I turn them on, all the lights come on, and then like one or two will stay on, and then the rest of them shut off. That's fine, they're in standby mode. No, that's the problem. All the LEDs should stay on. No, they're just in standby mode. Well, what do you mean? There's got to be a problem. The LEDs should stay on. No, they're in standby mode. I talked about this in the first video, the second video, the third video, the fourth video, the fifth video, and this one now. And I guarantee you, next week, somebody's going to call me and say, hey man, I got those modules that you recommend. Oh my God, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel finally. Today is Thursday, and I've been out here since 5:30 this morning, and I went into the house to go to sleep at 1 last night. I'm at the tail end of this show. I'm really burning the candle at both ends here. I went to do the brakes on my truck earlier this week, and I lifted the truck up, and come to find out, when the truck was up in the air and I was changing the brakes, I noticed that there was one little dribble of coolant on my skid pan. And I went, oh, it's a Chevy. Please God, let it be something simple like, I don't know, a hose, for the love of God. Now I've noticed for about a month, about every 2 weeks, I go out and I check the water level, and it would be down just like that far on the filling reservoir. No. Pull the skid pan off. Sure enough, it's leaking from behind the water pump. So currently, if you could look out in my driveway, you would see that I have my fan guard, fan shroud, fan off, pulley off. Why? Because you got to take even all the way down to the harmonic balancer off to be able to change the water pump. Chevy. But nothing makes horsepower like a Chevy motor. I don't care who you are. It's a mathematical fact. Your cost over horsepower produced, Chevy by far is the cheapest. Now, it's not quite as reliable as Dodge. Way more reliable than almost every Ford product. And I'm sorry, you guys out there in YouTuber land, I know this is about as decisive as saying Republican, Democrat, right? Ford, Chevy, or Dodge, but listen to me. I owned a 6.0, and on the third motor, and the third mechanic that said, oh, but if you put ARP studs in it, and you do a delete on it, and you do this, and you do that, and you do this, and you do that, and you do this, and then the word bulletproof would leave their mouth, I would just inside quietly shudder and want to kill myself. And that has been the running theme with every Ford product that I've ever owned. And I've owned several. So your blue oval is right up there with the Subaru emblem, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. And you know how opinions are. They're like assholes. Everybody's got one. So don't be hating. I like bow ties. At least they're easier to work on. I mean, who in their right mind would design a motor with 400 plus seals in it? And that's just in the oil passway. Oh, wait a minute. Ford did that. I mean, why would you design a motor where the oil and the water are in the same pathway and the oil's on the inside of the water line, so that when the oil line ruptures, which is, by the way, made of cheap ABS plastic that is non-fiber reinforced, and so just from vibration, like if they would have put the goddamn truck on a shake table, they would have understood that the line would break and then it would make milk. Why? Who would design? Oh, I mean, like, why would you put an electromatic clutch that drives the cooling for the entire motor and then make the wiring harness go over the freaking crankshaft output? On Ford products like the 6.0, the shroud, after you've taken it on and off about 16 times and you've pulled the body off the truck about 4 or 5 times to change motors and shit, the primary wiring harness that controls the electric fan clutch It hangs over the top of the fan, so when the fan engages, it cuts the wiring harness. Because why? I mean, I could stand here for hours and talk like this. Why would you put on top of the motor the oil water separator and filters for, and that's just one set of the filters, because there's another set down below and then a third set farther down. But the water separators on top of the motor, where, how do you get the water out when you go to change the goddamn oil? I don't understand. Needless to say, did you know the difference between a 4.5 and a 5 Chevy to the '08 LMM are these two stupid little brackets that they put directly in front of the main clamp on the bottom return feed for that it holds part of the fan structure in place. By the way, please note, older than the 6.0 and doesn't have the harness that can get chopped in half because there's no electric clutch. Anyhow, they're just stupid, by the way. So when you go and take the fender shield off and you're in there trying to get that back return line that goes to the back side of the block, they put this bracket right in front of it. And there's no way, not even from the bottom side, there's no way to get in there, right? Yeah, that held me up a little bit last night in 105-degree weather out here that we're having, but needless to say. Okay, enough about Ford versus Chevy. I could stand here all day and I could waste minutes of your lives like it's nothing standing here. Ask any one of my friends that know me. I am relentlessly merciless when it comes to Ford products. Just saying. Listen, I got 3 rules. I don't talk politics, I don't talk religion, and I don't talk race, because I think all 3 of those things are stupid. And I think what I need to do is adopt a 4th rule, which is I don't talk trucks. I actually said to my wife last night, the next one of these we buy is going to be a Dodge. Either 12 or 24 valve. They do sound awesome, but man, they're expensive to make horsepower with. I mean, like 3 times the cost. Anyhow, okay, back to topic on hand. So, all lighties turn on, and then they turn off once they figure out which is the, and this is a technical term, master slave. But I had to ask my brother, who at the time was working at Amazon, and he's a electronics guy. I said, so I know that you work in an incredibly woke environment. And he goes, incredibly woke. And I said, so what is the new technical term? And it's leader and followers is what Amazon came up with. So what's happening here with the lights is we have all the units turning on and they're somehow magically talking to each other. See, look, all lights on. Whoop! And then all of a sudden they're going to go blink, and they'll shut off except for like 1 or 2. Okay, they're all still on. They're all producing shmoo. Volts are happening, things are working. So don't freak out. It has nothing to do, the modules are fine. I'm just grateful because in about 20 minutes, I'm going to be done with this, and this will be the first thing that's completed. So up into this point, the last literally 2 physical weeks that I've spent working on the projects for this one guy, the power supply will be the first thing finished. Then I'm going to do the 16 pill, which is I got to tune it and I got to check it and then I certify it, and then you guys are going to get to see that next. The 16 pill, and then I'm going to do the 8 pill, and then I'll do the 2 4 pills, and I'm going to do the 2 2 pills. And when that's done, this whole project is completed. And then I can wrap it all up in plastic and then wrap it up in packing blankets, and then I can drive it to the other side of the United States. Okay. Let's burn some stuff real quick. Let's test this thing. Okay, so I have each one of the power supplies trimmed out to 15.1 volts. So I've got this plugged into an extension cord that runs 20 feet over to the wall outlet. It's to a 50 amp outlet 20 feet away. I've got 6.4 coming in We have our standard wiring code of black and red is hot. Our white is, of course, our common, and our green is ground, case ground. So standard wiring code, right? Here's our volts. We can see right here, very easily, very clearly put in the frame here that we're pinned at 15 volts. And let's start applying some load. There's 60, there's 200, there's 300, there's 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, come on, give me 9. And we're at 12. Okay, so we'll back out of it at 900. So it's 900 amps peak, and smell the carbon pile getting hot. Of course, this fiberglass, I'm not dicking around with this build at all. This fiberglass here is a 1/4 inch thick, high temp. I have 2/0 gauge cable coming from each one of these soldered connections, going back to bronze bolts. There is bolt to eyelet. The eyelets are through-hole soldered, hydraulically crimped, submerged soldered eyelets. They're not coming apart. So then I have washer, eyelet, bolt, then the fiberglass, and another bolt holding the. So we're not relying on the fiberglass to make the contact between the bolt and the outside world, right? So. And then, of course, lock washer and another bronze bolt. So, or nut, pardon me. So let's see here. And I bet you our line voltage is just diving off into outer space here. Which wouldn't surprise me at all. Throw this 3rd meter into the equation here for you guys to all gab your eyeballs at. Let's see if I can do this and not electrocute my pubes. Okay. So 243 volts going in. Yeah. 12 volts is 900 amps. So 700 amps is 13 volts. It's going to power everything he's got with no problems whatsoever. Okay, so let's get this finished. I'm running out of time. I got a lot of ground to cover today. Got a lot of ground to cover. So let me get the lid on this. Actually, I need to gold leaf the logo on here real fast. So far, the gold leafing has worked out pretty good for me, for the most part. I mean, it's a hassle, don't get me wrong, but turn this thing on, no problems, no sparks, no arcs, no smoke. It's a good way to start the day. Best part of waking up, the 700 amp power supply in your cup. Okay, so we're gonna start out with a little 2-pill, and we got it all set up now. Turn the amp off. Let's go over here. 1 1 1 1 at 30 watts of drive. And what we're getting out of it, 1 2 1 2, about 483 watts. Let's go up here. Let's take a look at our input reflect. We're using the bench 2950, by the way. 1 2 1 2 1 2, perfectly flat. So this one's done, other than the label, the Made in America sticker, and I got to put the lid on it. So And the on-off sideband labels are being made as I speak, so they'll be ready to go. Yeah, little sideband delay. Fully biased, ready to rock and roll. Okay, let's move on to the 1x2. Okay, so now we're looking at the 1x2. The only thing that's missing on this is, of course, I got to put the lid on it, which I'll do off video here. Put the on-off and sideband stickers on the front. It's turned out really pretty. Really, really, really pretty. Okay, so we're on, once again, the RCI 2950. Let's go over here and see what we're putting in this for drive. About 30 watts as always. Let's go look at the pass-through tune. Hello, 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 hello. And we're on 15 volts, just like the other one. So, let's go ahead, let's turn the amp on. Hello, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2. Hello, audio. Here, it helps if I got the variable all the way open, I guess. Hello. There, about 460 watts peak. Let's run the variable through its full motion here. Hello. 362 watts with the variable all the way down. And what I'm showing you is me modulating into it, turning the variable up and down. Okay, so let's go up here. And let's look at our input reflect as we put the amp through its mode of operation. So this is with the variable all the way down. Of course, we're going to have the highest reflect here. Hello. And now we're going to turn the variable up. Hello. Audio. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's the highest it gets is 0.2 of a watt on the input side. So that is that. I'm going to put the fan on this thing. We're going to put this over in the done tested pile that you guys have seen. And the next thing is straight 4 pills. This box runs really, really good. I mean, it tuned out like that. I mean, not going to say anything. I don't want to jinx anything here. Okay, so this is where we're at. This is the 4-pill that I built in an 8-pill cabinet, mobile. Let's turn the amp off. Let me show you drive. We're on the D-Rail Striker 955 at the moment. Yellow 1, 2, 104, 138 watts, right? Let's turn this puppy on. Hello, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Hello, hello, hello. I mean, it gets with it. Let's look at our output tune, our input tune, I mean. Hello, 1, 1, 1, 1, hello. Silly flat, right? Let's turn the amp off, pass-through tune. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Perfect. 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 Okay. Once again, let me get the lid for this. This is where the lids start getting really, really, really sexy here. Trying not to get discouraged. I changed the fuel pump or the water pump in my truck. Started on it last night, finished it this morning. Took it out for a test drive so I could get confidence in it. And I think the bearing in the brand new alternator, or the brand new water pump is bad. So, I'm at D-Day here. I gotta be done with these amps today because I've got to pack this whole shop up and get ready to hit the road tomorrow. And I'm now recognizing this is gonna be my 3rd night, 4th night in a row where I'm gonna be up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning again. And then back up buck early tomorrow. Look at this. I will say this about these hand-cut powder-coated cabinets. My friend RC, who originally powder coated all these cabinets, and then I had to have them all professionally stripped and re-powder coated again, pointed out the idea that if we took and we had these things all hand sanded, wet sanded, they'd look like a mirror. Well, he had 2 cabinets, maybe 3, that were done, that were all wet sanded. So I went ahead and I paid my guy that I had to pay to redo all the cabinets because, well, you know, reasons. And boy, all of these things just look like glass, man. They're like, they show every little fingerprint, every little smudge, and they just attract dust. Like, this is gonna look so pretty. I love them gold-plated fan guards. That's legit gold leaf, you guys. I want to put that on there. Hold on a second. Nice clear top, see inside the amp, the whole 9 yards. This really turned out nice. Gold leaf, man. These are pretty. I like this red on black on gold. It looks good to me. Okay, well, next stop is the small 4-pill for his car. So give me a minute and we'll be back with that. This is our standard 2x4 cabinet. This is basically a masterclass build, except it's got really pretty powder coating on it. Okay, let's shut the amp off. Let's go over here. Same thing as before, 1000 watt slug and peak, 1000 average, 5 watt slug and reverse back from the bird, 10,000 watt dummy load. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's go up here. Hello, 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 hello. Perfectly flat pass-through tune. And let's run the amp. Hello, 1, 1, 1, 1. Hello, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Hello, hello, hello. So, you read this any way you want. Hello, 1, 1. Hello, 1, 1. Hello, 1, 1. Wants to be driven. Input tune on this is perfect. Nailed this. Just nailed it. Just nailed it. Makes me happy. All right, lid on, screws in, out stickers, remote sticker, and then I got to get the on and side bin. So what I'm doing is what we figured out with the first 8-pill that we built, which was the end of your video, is to gold leaf this is it's really hard. Like really hard, where it's easier for us to gold leaf some vinyl and then black label over the gold leaf. It'll last a lot longer, it won't rub off, and it's much easier to apply, right? So I got a guy that's working on that for me. Same guy that's done all the stencils for all the other gold leafing and stuff I've done, but this is working. All right, tin on, let's move on to the 8-pill. It's been a full day since the last segment, by the way. This is the stock water pump that came out of my Duramax. And this seal had rotted. As you can see, it's sticking. It's rotted. So this is the bottom side of the pump. You can see this is where it was leaking from. So this is the brand new pump that I ordered yesterday, or a few days ago. I'm losing track of the days, but I put this in the truck. This thing within 3 miles of me putting this in the truck, it failed. And I was on the phone with my buddy Juice out of California. and I was answering some questions for him on a 3000 thing that he's working on. And he's like, I'm driving home. I took it out on a test drive, went and washed my truck, stopped in and checked on my mom, my little elderly mom, and I'm talking to him on the phone on the way home. He's like, man, what is that howling noise in the background? I'd spool up. Horrible. So I spent all kinds of God and money yesterday to get another pump, yet a third pump, and went to getting it installed yesterday, last night. And to change the water pump on a Duramax, you have to pull the harmonic balancer off. Well, I slid the harmonic balancer off, which weighs like 25 pounds or whatever, changed the pump, put everything back together, and I went to go put the harmonic balancer back on, and I slid it on, and as I slid it on, I hear this think. And I went, oh shit, what was that? And I go to slide the harmonic balancer off. It wouldn't come off. Remember, it went on like, dink, and it wouldn't come off. And I went, huh. So I built the puller because the puller I had would not make contact with the outside, and I wasn't going to go and like let that puller make contact with the threads on the inside of the crank, right? So put the crank bolt back in it, backed it way off, built this puller to ride on a crank bolt, and pulled, and I mean, I am like down there with a big wrench and a cheater bar having to go, make that noise some more, right? I finally get the harmonic balancer to come off at about 9:30, 10 o'clock last night. And I just looked down at the end of my crank, and the keyway's broke. The keyway, the wind key, the wind pin or whatever they call it, has been sheared off. And as I'm pulling the thing off, because I wasn't going to go and pry on the backside of the harmonic balancer, you don't ever want to do that. The block and the seals and everything that are behind the harmonic balancer, you don't ever want to be putting like a, pry bar. I'm sure there's some other people out there that have, but it doesn't. This is so frustrating to me. So last night at like 10:30, I finally just said, I'm done. I looked at my wife. I said, we're done. We're not going to be able to make this trip happen. As I went to bed last night, in my mind, because of the power of YouTube, in my mind, the only way, and one guy, by the way, the power of YouTube and one guy, his name's Dave, and he runs a little repair shop down there in Utah. You've all have seen one of his videos. Skinny guy with glasses, white hair. He's got one of them, beards that you trim so he's got a jawline kind of thing. According to him, the only way to fix that is to blow the whole motor apart, rebuild the whole motor, and while you're at it, put the crank in a mill and cut a key slot down the front. That'll fix it forever. I said to myself, I'm done. I'm just done. I'm too many days, rushing too hard. These aren't ready to go. This video is not done. We're done. We're done. We're done. Went in the house, took a shower, got cleaned up, passed out. Got up this morning, did a little bit more reading, watched a couple more YouTube videos, and then out of the blue, it's weird how the universe works. My friend Brian, who's a master machinist, he called me and I listened to his radio question and I gave him his answer. And then I got to thinking about it and I asked him, I said, hey man, this is a situation I got going on. What do you think I should do? And he's like, oh man, them things are made of really soft steel. The pins are made of garbage on the front of them Chevys, me being a Dodge fan and all. But really all you got to do to fix that. And he goes to explain to me that little soft dowel that when it shears off or breaks for any reason, it has a tendency to gall against the harmonic balancer. And then as you're pulling the harmonic balancer off, it has a tendency to friction weld itself to the cam or the crankshaft and the bottom of the harmonic or the inside of the harmonic balancer. And then he went on to explain how to get all that galling off of there, right? Crankshaft's hard. The harmonic balancer is fairly hard, but not super hard. that pin is made of like soft Chinesium or some shit. So I had to go get a special kind of Dremel wheel and blah, blah, blah. I get off the phone with him, and then my other friend, who happens to be a diesel mechanic, owns a delete shop and is a big-time CB operator, John DeLuna, calls me. So I tell DeLuna what I got going on. He's like, oh, dude, the guts of that pin, you can get that out of there. All you got to do is tap it with like a punch. So the punch I use is hanging right there on the wall. Tap it with a punch, and it'll pop up out of there. You can pull it out with a magnet. Just go get yourself any kind of mild steel. I sent him at Home Depot. He said, yeah, go over to Home Depot, get yourself a little bit of stock. So I did. I went over and got myself a little piece of steel stock and cut it off, then put it in the lathe and turned it down to be exactly the size that I needed. Got a 90-degree drill bit with a diamond tip on it to be able to go and clean out the hole that the keyway goes into. And then they both said the most powerful thing that made my brain click out of woe is me mode. When I was a kid, I wanted to learn about alternators, so I went and worked at a place called Husky Alternators here in Boise. I worked there for about 3-4 weeks because I wanted to learn how alternators work and figure out how, okay. Old man that ran the shop explained to me that the bolt does more to hold the pulley in place than that keyway ever could do. Because I asked him, I said, we had a slot in it for a keyway for the pulley on the alternator on the armature shaft that comes out of the front end of the alternator. He he says to me, he goes, boy, that keyway doesn't do shit. All that is it gives you the ability to align everything properly when you put it together. That washer on the front and that nut, you put 150 pounds worth of torque, foot-pound pressure to lock that nut in place, that keyway will never even know. Okay. Pulled the keyway out of it, stuck the pulley on it, you know, torqued the son of a bitch up to 1,000,000 PSI, you know, 15 ugga-chugga with the impact. Never moved. And I went, filed that away in the back of my brain. Come to today or yesterday, well, actually today, that light bulb kicked on again. They both said that that keyway is there for orientation properties only. It has zero to do with keeping a harmonic balancer in place. That's all done with the nut and the washer. And I went, okay. So between my two friends, primarily DeLuna, but my other friend Brian, and I called another guy and he confirmed the exact same thing. 3 hours later, truck's running. Thank God. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. I got the 8 pill, I got the 16 pill left. I got to put some vinyl on some stuff. Look at this. That's pretty. That's hand. So, okay, let me explain this. My neighbor Joe, his name's Joe, he's an awesome dude. He's a electrical engineer, a jack of many trades, and a vinyl guy. We go shoot together. He's a good dude. He's a real good dude. Joe is teaching his kid how to vinyl. And so what we did is we took gold leaf over and we took this one sheet and we gold leafed the whole sheet. And then his kid sat there with a varnishing tool and jeweled in perfectly straight lines the gold on top of the vinyl. So this is gold leaf with a vinyl backer on it, and then this has been cut with another relief piece of vinyl over the top side of the outside for the cymbal sideband on off. The reason I'm doing this is I did not like how the first one of these turned out. I did not. I was not impressed. I thought, my God, if it wasn't for me putting down 14 inches of lacquer on the front of the damn thing, the on and off is just going to rub off just from people touching it, right? This is our workaround, and in my opinion, looks a whole lot better. Okay, back on topic. Here's this beautiful 8 pill I built, and it runs really, really, really good. Like, I'm very, very pleased with how well this runs. Fully biased for sideband, basically a master class build, 8 pill. That's the style that I built it in. Got a pretty cabinet on it with a bunch of gold around it. So, with the amp off, let's do our test procedures. All right, so radio 150 watts peak. We're on 15.2 volts here, 1000 watt. Hello, 11. This one's an average, pardon me. I swear I've sweated out 15 pounds worth of water in the last 2 days. 150 watts worth of drive. Hello, 1111, 1300 watts. Exactly what we should expect. This is the fun part to me, is getting all of this to sing and dance and touch itself all in the same happy little dog and pony show. Here we go. We're looking at this bottom scale, and we're correlating that with the 5 watt slug and reverse back from the amplifier. It's a dead carrier. Hello, 11. Hello, 11. Freaking beautiful. Perfectly flat input tune. Perfectly flat. Hello, 1111. The top end of this box is 2000 plus watts. Period. It's not needed to show on video. But I want to show you one of these completed, because now that I got the vinyl, I can finally put the fan on here and I can show you the whole kit and caboodle completed. So give me just a second, let me get all the screws in here, which is a little bit of a process because I've got to chase each one of these PIM nuts with a 632 tab. Powder coating has a tendency to get into everything, and even though I personally put little foam inserts in every one of these PIM nuts, still going to chase it because I'm putting stainless steel hardware into an aluminum thread surrounded by powder coat. So, I know I said that I was going to show you this. This thing is completed. To me, this color design, which is totally the customer, by the way, the gold on the red, it's beautiful. I'm telling you, these things are, you better make sure you got your hands absolutely spotlessly clean when you pick up and touch one of these. That's what they look like completed. I'm excited. I'm really excited for this guy. This has been one of the more scattered videos because I've had to shoot this over so many different multiple days. I apologize for it, and I've had so much stuff going on in the background. I feel like I really kind of haven't done these guys as much justice as they're due. But it's okay. I think the customer's cool with it. I'm just glad to get these done. So here we are at the end. This is his 16 pill that I built for him. He said to me that he wanted to have big oversized relay. So it's not uncommon to use a big relay like this for a 3000 or a 32 pill or a 48 pill. He wanted to have big oversized. So I went with the custom input for the power wire. This is something new. I'm going to do this in a bunch more stuff. I got a 32 pill that I'm currently building for a friend of mine. It's going to use the same thing. We've got standoffs for all the resistors for our 100 ohmers. Of course, our standoffs over here on our combiners and our splitter stages. Elevated platforms over here in the corner for our output combiner. Elevated platform once again for our input tune and our output tune tubes. And let's see, this has already all been cleared. And it is done. Simplest way to put it. So let's give it a quick run. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at this here with the derail striker hitting it. Yeah, amp is off. All right, so as always, we've got a 1000 watt slug in peak, 1000 in average, 5 watt slug in reverse. Make sure I got the average knob and peak knob all the way up on the derail radio. I do. At 011. At 011. About 130 watts. Oh, wait a minute. That might gain down. Hello, 1, 1. Okay. Let's go over here. Let's look at our pass-through tune. Otherwise, and I actually heard this said in another video the other day, there's a capacitor that we add. And this one is right here. And that capacitor is what compensates for the input bump, the impedance bump, of going from balanced 50 ohm input through all the connections on the relay and on the way out. That capacitor is really important to make your system think that the amplifier is invisible when it's off. So that's what we're showing you here, is the ability for the RF to come from the radio through the amp into the dummy load. 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. You can see here we have a 0 SWR and 0 reflect, which means I've got the capacitance of the keying capacitor and the capacitance of the pass-through tuning capacitor spot on the money. All right. So now let's go ahead and put the amp into transmit mode at 1 1. At 1800 watts peak, no problem whatsoever. That's with 140 watts of drive, 1800 watts, almost $2,000, right? At 1 1 1 1. At 1 1 1 1 1. At 1. So, all right. Amp's working. Hold on a second. I want to put the lid on this thing. I'm going to start running this pretty heavy here in a second. So let me get the lid on it. We'll be right back. I'm starting to lose my mind. I've already put the lid on this thing, and I forgot I didn't show you guys input tune on this box at all. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's pan up here real quick. Once again, 5 watt slug in reverse. We're looking down here at the SWR bridge. Perfectly flat. Like, silly, silly, silly flat. At 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. At 1 1 1 1. At 1 1 1 1. Perfect. Sorry. It's 4th of July, right? Just got done setting off all the fireworks with all the neighbors. And it's time. I'm ready to be done. This thing is completed and perfect. Just love how these look. I swear, that belongs in a magazine someplace. All right. Now, let's put the lid on it and let's run it up a little bit and see what we can get out of it for power. Okay. Had a couple problems, like my ground lead came off in the last little testing a segment, and this 316 coax was trying to carry most of the load, and it actually, if you guys can see it, it burned the coax off. I mean, that sent me for a loop trying to figure that one out. But keyed the box for the first time with the fans on, and it blew out these 2 front fans. Just killed them. RF got in the fans, so I took the 2 front fans off and replaced them. And things seems to work just fine. Let's move you over here so we can actually see the bird elements here. I went back to the analog one because my brain is very tired at this point. It is now, shoot, what is it? 2 o'clock in the morning on the 5th. Still got to edit this video. So this is a 1000 watt slug in 5X, as we can see. And this is a 5000 watt slug in average. So we now have those numbers. And let's see what we get. So, turn on the 16 pill. And by the way, we're using my customer's 4 pill to drive it. So this is about as close to what you're going to have as an end result on your end without actually having everything on your end, right? So we're using your driver. So let's shut this off real quick. And if you can remember, this was making 2100, 21,000, yeah, 20, man, my brain is tired. This is making about 1200 watts, 1080, 100, or 1100 and something like that. Around 1200, right? So, hello, radio. amp. Hello, audio. So we're getting our 4 or 500 bird out of it that we were seeing before. Let me get in here a little bit closer for you guys. Hello. I'm seeing about 1200 out of it. And drive. So 1200 worth of drive. Hello. Right at about 4100 peak. Had to play around with the tune on the input side to get the power down. This will also give you an opportunity to see what we've got for current load. Hello, audio, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yep. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello. About 400 amps. That's about what we'd expect. So, this is another thing I wanted to show you. In the input tune, this is a 100-watt element in reverse, so we're seeing about 3-4 watts of reflect on the input side. Let's go over here. Let's go ahead and let's take this 4100 and we're just going to hit the peak button real quick. That's all. So 4,100 watts on the digital meter as well. Well, gentlemen, got a lot of personal stuff going on in the background amongst this video. And I apologize. Very stressful. I wanted to make sure I had this done, and it was done perfectly for this gentleman before I left here. And I think I've achieved just that. So we've got his 700 plus amp power supply. We've got his 2 2-pills, his 2 4-pills, his extra 8 pill, and the 16 pill. All in one package. Now, on top of that, I got a bunch of other stuff that I need to take him, and I want to show you here on video real quick. Okay, so I asked the customer the other day, I said, man, how are you going to do your power leads for your amps? He says, I don't know. I said, okay, well, how long do you need them to be? And he goes, well, I don't really know. I'm still working on doing the shelving units for it. So I'm like, okay. So I quick and had to scramble on a couple things for him because I didn't realize there were some problems that took place, and I'll cover that here in a minute. So first off, from the power supply to the 16 pill, I've got him this 4-aught cable with 400 amp Anderson clips in the middle. This hydraulically crimped and soldered, both ends of it. There's about $600 worth of wire right there. So on top of that, where did I put the rest of, oh, yep, it's here. On top of that, we have another about $200 worth of wire for his 2 pills and all the associated Anderson clips that go along with that. Then for the 4-pill units, we have about another, I don't know, $350, $400 worth of wire for that, for the 4-pill units. And then all the associated Anderson clips we'll need for that as well. So when I get on the other end, I can build him custom length power leads to go from his power supply to all of his different amps. Now, none of this was initially included in any of the price, right? Because it's just something that came up, and I said, don't worry about it, we'll figure it out when we get to the end of the thing. Well, we're here at the end of the thing. Then, on top of that, he pointed out to me via the phone that there was some damage that took place on his initial 8-pill enclosure that he has. Well, I went ahead and I quickly had overnighted in a cabinet, and I ran it over to my powder coat guy like 5 days ago, and I had him powder coat you a brand new colored 2-matched enclosure for your 8-pill. So hopefully when I get there, you'll let me change cabinets around for you, because this back corner took a little bit of a hit. Okay, so on top of that, all of this, I think we can finally put your dream station in the done bucket list. Gentlemen, my name is BBI. This has represented almost 3 straight weeks worth of work. I know this video has been very jumpy and it's been all over the place. Please pardon me. Like I said, I've had a lot of stuff going on in the background. I am completely mentally and emotionally exhausted, and I'm ready to go on vacation. So on that note, I say thank you. I appreciate you guys. There'll be videos coming from on the road. This is going to be a fun trip. I'm going to go pick up at least 4 more interview videos. And these are big, big names. You guys have all heard for decades. I mean, we're talking 766 Bullet Bob 63 Motormouth Mall names. And I'm really, really, really proud that I'm going to be able to get these guys and bring them to you guys to hear their history and see their stations if they let us see them. And it's all because of this gentleman right here and our Patreon supporters down here. You have watched this entire video ad-free because of the support of the Patreons that have come and are willing to donate just $1, $2, whatever they want. That has allowed me to offset, and you guys don't have to worry about ads as you're watching one of my videos. So I say thank you to these gentlemen. Their thank you list is at the end of the YouTube video. I know nobody ever watches it, but it's there. And I say thank you to every single one of them. On top of that, I say thanks to every single one of you guys that put up my weird antics, my not very funny jokes, and me just being corny and being me. But I thank every single one of you for being here. Please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment in the doobly-doo. It all helps with the algorithm. And on that note, I'm done. Gentlemen, I say thank you. I appreciate you. I am the biggest mud duck in Idaho, without a shadow of a doubt. That will never change. I said I'll see you. Click, click.